Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's ADC. It's the first time it's not like 100 freaking degrees outside, and so I can record this with no air conditioning noise in the background, which is awesome. But today, to get into the actual topic of this video, I'll be giving you my full review of the Worx Sandstorm. I believe it's a Sandstorm. I might have said that wrong. I just looked up the name of this knife right before recording, and I think I messed it up. But I believe it's the Sandstorm. This one is the olive drab version. There was also a camo carbon version and I think some G10 and some regular carbon fiber. These were $325 direct on his website. I don't know if these were sold through retailers or not, or if they're in stock anywhere. They're currently out of stock on Eric Ochs' website. And yeah, let's talk about this knife a little bit. You have a flipper only M390. You're looking at about a 3.5-inch blade here, running on bearings with pretty smooth operation, very thin overall. I don't know why, but I equate the look of this knife to like a fish. I don't know, it gives me like fish vibes, and I don't know why exactly. You can see it's got a little bit of a harpoony thing going, you know, up here on the tip. However, you can see that easier. You know, just kind of an interesting design. Eric Ochs' work is something that's never really spoken to me in particular. I only ever handled one other model of his, which I believe was either the Orca or the Lynx. One of them was a collaboration with Mass Drop back when they were a company. And Lewis over at Addicted to Knives had it when we had our local meetup. And that was the only time I got to handle it. But this is the second experience I've had with an Ochs design. And yeah, I'm a big fan, honestly. This not this one in particular, but he does really solid ergos on his designs. Everything looks really ergonomic, and this, as well as whatever the other one was I handled, I think it was the Lynx, had some really solid ergos. Some nice details on this would be like the milling that you can see up here near the pivot. It provides a really meaningful amount of grip, honestly. And that same milling pattern is continued on the pocket clip here. And you also have some jimping on the back spacer, making this very comfortable in hand, especially when you choke up onto that finger choil. You're kind of landing with your thumb on the jimping, not jimping, but the texturing to the titanium there. If you put your thumb off to the side and kind of more of like a pinch style grip, you get really good grip on that. I'm gonna keep calling it jimping because it works like jimping, but on that milling pattern. The inlays are really fit and finished very well. There are no gaps whatsoever on this. You see that micarta is nice, and definitely a quality micarta here. You know, very thin overall. For a flipper-only knife with bearings, titanium scales, it's, you know, it's not the thinnest thing in the world. I can bring in this is a bird, Harrier 2, Caracara 2, something like that. It's essentially like the Delica, and you can see it's thicker than that, but this is quite a thin knife overall, this guy here. Fairly thin blade stock, probably looking at 0.125 or so, maybe a little bit thinner, but you do have a very nice hollow grind on here that comes down to a nice thin edge and makes this really nice to cut with. Choked up onto that finger choil here, made it really nice to just kind of glide through material. And there's plenty of room on this handle to be back here, more of like a hammer style grip. You know, I wear a large size glove. You can see I just kind of fit onto that handle, but I'm certainly much more comfortable up here in the choil, and I feel like you get a lot more control. A little harpoony shape that this has is good if you want to wrap your middle finger around the, I'm trying to find a good way to show you this. If you want to put your middle finger around the finger choil there, then you can bring that pointer finger up and you can work with really precise cuts using the tip very, very comfortably. The jimping on the back of the spacer here kind of helps hold that in place against your palm, as well as if your pinky wraps around tight enough, mine doesn't, you can get some added grip from that textured clip. So it makes for really nice, easy, detailed work. Certainly not a super low tip on this, but the tip is still out in front of the pivot, so it's something that works pretty well for detailed work on the table. Overall, you know, for being flipper only, it's rather a nice knife. I am not a big fan of flipper only pieces, just because I like having other forms of deployment, and I don't like a flipper poking around in the pocket. It's just not my favorite, style of deployment. I like a good hole or a good thumb stud deployment. Anything else is kind of extra or bonus at that point if they happen to have additional deployment methods. But for being a flipper only, with this kind of bolster lock, frame lock thing it's got going on, it does fire out nicely, and the blade's nice and light, but still has really good action. You can see it fires out nicely, and I'm using it left-handed right now so you can see it, but some light shaking gets it shut. And then, of course, if I use my right hand, you can see it drops right down and closes with just a few shakes. One of the things you have to watch out for with this knife is making sure you're high enough on the lock bar that it doesn't come down and kind of cut your thumb. I hit myself like right at the base of my nail so many times closing this knife. I had like a decent cut when I first got it in, just because it was too far down, and you can see how it kind of crosses over my thumb. But if you're higher up on this lock bar, it'll hit your nail no problem. Just be wary of that if you happen to own one of these or plan on owning one of these. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say about this. It cut really well. It's pretty comfy in hand. It's got good action, and it is overall just really well done. $325. You can decide whether you like that price or not. I wish these were a little bit cheaper. I don't know who the OEM was. If I do find out, I'll put it in the video here. I didn't know if his website said or not. I would guess it's either Wii or Rayot, most likely, just based off of kind of what I'm looking at. It could be Best Tech too, now that I'm thinking about it, but I guess it'd be Best Tech or Rayot, most likely, who's OEMing these. I don't think he did this himself, despite being sold on his site. I don't think, I know they're not customs, obviously, at $325, so keep that in mind. These are definitely OEM'd by somebody. And yeah, the price it is what it is. You know, you can't change it now that they have sold out so clearly, and people liked them for the price, and you be the judge of whether it be worth it at that price for you. But all in all, really well done here. So this is the Worx SolarStorm, and yeah, that's all I have to really say about it. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and take care.